Morning, everybody. Thank you all for your support in giving me responses to some of the questions that I had about the power supply for our Family Advocacy Day that we're going to in Washington, D.C. To represent Boston Children's Hospital. We're very honored to do so. However, the prepping and planning, because Abel's on the ventilator around the clock, is a little bit of tricky travel for us, and he typically only leaves the house to go to Boston Children's Hospital appointments or other local brief places. So give you a quick rundown. Because I have dual equipment for him, he's actually downstairs on his other ventilator. He's completely safe because I can hear his respirations from here, and he has all of his alarms on. So what I am traveling with, this is probably just the tip of the iceberg of what we're actually traveling with. So we take his ventilator. This has an internal and an external battery backup, as well as a spare battery, and I'll be able to plug this into our power supply as we go. I'm going to be taking his pulse oximeter, which also has a pretty, I think the battery life on this is pretty good. I'm a little biased to it, but this will last us a whole day, and then we can plug it in at the, at nighttime. This here is water, and this is sterile inhalation water that goes down to his humidifier chamber here, which acts as the job of somebody's nose. So what it does is it warms up. The tubing comes from the ventilator, goes into the humidifier chamber, and then it warms up the ventilation that he gets so that his secretions stay nice and thin for his trach. And then it goes... This is where it attaches to his trach. So hope that's a nice little quick tutorial for you guys. We travel typically with a trach go bag. We travel with our suction machine. So this is my bad boy that gets about 15 minutes unless it's continuously plugged into power. And then this is where I'm having a little bit of my issues just because I'm being an overprotective mom. Abel doesn't travel very often, and so this here is what is important to me, at least in the car ride, because it's so far away from our home, that he gets the proper humidification temperature. And what that means is it keeps it at a certain degree, or in the range of what he should be getting for proper humidification. And he's reading his Mickey Mouse book while I'm doing my little video for you guys here. So that's part of what we travel with. While we're down there, I was hoping to be able to put the humidifier chamber and attach it to my stroller, just because I'm a little heightened that he hasn't traveled for so far, and he's just really suffering from allergies. He's on a ton of different allergy medications, and we're really trying to keep that at bay. So that was my hope. It's not something that we have to do in the stroller. I just really like to make sure that he gets absolutely the best stuff that he can get. So I do have what's called an HME, and so that's just a little piece that goes into his tubing, and that will give us a few hours, and we'll be able to change that out as we go while he's in the stroller for some of our meetings. But like I said, I just really like to give him humidification that he should be getting, because I love him and he's the bomb. The other stuff that we're traveling with is, so this is our concentrator at home. It converts our room air to oxygen. And then this is, we keep emergency tanks around the house. It's connected, if you see here with a key, it's connected to tubing that I can either bleed in the back of his ventilator so he gets oxygen if he needs to. And then our emergency tanks are attached to an Ambu bag. So when I tell you guys that I need to bag Abel if he's in respiratory distress, some of you have seen these. Typically, you've probably never seen, I can see if I can prop this up, but this little piece here is what's called an HME. Ours are a little bit smaller, but that we use in the inline for his tubing. This here attaches to his trach if I needed to bag him. And then this fills up with oxygen that's connected to oxygen, an oxygen tank. In our case, we're pretty fortunate. And then we carry a mask in case his trach comes out when we needed to bag him over the face. We're pretty fortunate. Our DME company was super awesome and gave us a travel concentrator. So it's that big piece that I showed you that converts room air to oxygen. This is pretty heavy considering all of the equipment that we're going with, but it's on wheels, which I really like, and it has a battery backup. So I'm looking forward to using this because, it'd be nice to have one of these all the time, so I didn't have to carry around enough oxygen in the car that could potentially go through the windshield or blow us up, but so those are my respiratory supplies I'm getting in order. I travel, we're going to pack at least a backup of absolutely everything. We were able to get 2 suction machines because we purchased one out of pocket last year when we came home. You know, we really wanted to get 2 of everything so that if we had an emergency like I had before when we first came home, I didn't realize that you needed to actually have the suction machine plugged in to get power to suction my child. So that was in the first 24 hours of coming home, and we're like, you know what if this ever, you know, breaks on us? So we decided to buy a spare suction machine and a second pulse oximeter. So this stuff isn't cheap, and we've been lucky enough, you know, last year we were able to raise some funds to be able to get that stuff, and by no means, way, shape, or form am I asking anybody. I appreciate all the input to guide us towards some of the power supply that I was looking for, but I had one person reach out to me and say, you know, that they would be willing to help pay for something like that, and we really, really appreciate it, but please just keep Abel in your prayers for our trip, and, you know, there are far more needs than his little trip to Boston or to Washington for that stroller ride that I'm just being, it's really just me being a little over the top with making sure, you know, that he gets what he needs. But I started doing a little bit of my packing last night. We have food for a couple days for his blended diet. I've got my med list with his times, what he gets for PRN meds, his feeds, his water, syringes, caps, a couple of my meds. Some of them are in the fridge, so obviously that's going to be a different story of packing those up once we finally get ready to go. And I packed up enough syringes and a spare G-tube button in case it comes out, just to be able to get us through for his feeds for a few days. So that's the basics. I've got a lot more packing to do. I'll probably do another video at some point, but again, I want to thank all of you for reaching out, and thank you guys for giving us the support and sharing the WMER segment. It was really nice that they came to do that, and we're honored and humbled by the hospital even choosing our family to go tell Abel's story to advocate for Congress on Capitol Hill, and we're really looking forward to it. So I hope you all tune in, and I will be sharing tons and tons of stuff of our trip over the few days that we're gone. So everybody have a great day, and thank you.